If you've been paying attention at all, you know that Candace Owens is dropping her new episode 1 series, Bride of Charlie, and this is going to be like an expose on Erica Kirk. Do we know if it's going to be positive or negative? Are there going to be more allegations? Is it kind of a review of what's been there so far? I don't know. You're going to have to watch it tonight. But the important thing to take away from this is the attacks on Candace. And some other people have covered some of this stuff as well, but I felt like with everything going on, it's something I definitely wanted to cover myself. When everyone found out that Charlie was gone, things were pretty crazy. And at first, Candace didn't go after Erica. She basically let her do her thing. She let her grieve. She let her mourn. And I think a lot of times she was protecting her. She would have some of her comments say things like, look at Erica. I'm suspicious of Erica. What is Erica doing? Right? And she would stick up for her and let her do her thing. And then so many strange things came in back to back to back to back. And a lot of those things have been reported on, obviously, by Candace and Barron and others. And it's gotten to the point where there are so many things that don't fit and are out of place, and from her past make her look very suspicious and do not fit her current godly widow imaging. When I was younger, I knew this girl. I'm not going to say her name, of course, but there's no way I would have ever seen her with a pastor. Back then, she drank a lot, she partied a lot, and she spent time with men, okay? And now she is a pastor's wife, and she goes around and she does speaking. And she goes to different churches, and she does a very good job. She knows the Bible inside and out. She seems like she has come into that role. And that's why I'm thinking with Erica is maybe it could be something similar. She had the movie stuff. She was a beauty queen. She had lots of videos online, Instagram, and everywhere else where she was hanging out with a lot of men. I'm not saying that she slept with these men, but she was around men a lot. Very flirty. And some of the videos, some people say are damning against her Christian-like nature or her Christian-like persona. Now, obviously, anyone, Christian or not, they can have issues. They can have problems. No one's perfect. But I think this series is going to explore deeper into the allegations and her possible ties to issues around the Charlie Kirk incident. But let's get into some of the things that are going on online because people are losing their minds. And if you haven't already seen this, this is the trailer. This is for the series, Bride of Charlie. And I believe episode 1 is coming out tonight. And I will probably do a recap afterwards. But the important takeaway is this trailer, just the trailer alone of this multi-part series, is making people lose their minds. People like Dan Bongino, Tim Pool, and many others. There's also a campaign that we're going to show that is a smear campaign, a paid, most likely, I think there's some proof of that, a paid smear campaign against Candace Owens. And I'm going to show that and evidence of that. And this is not the first time something like this has happened. But let's watch the trailer.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot from a nearby building.
After being shot at Utah Valley University.
The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Erica Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
Weird conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt.
$8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
And of course, this is the investigative series from Candace Owens. Now, clearly, if she had nothing to do with her husband and his passing, then this is probably the meanest thing you could possibly do to someone. This would be considered, as you'll see from many other people, they consider it demonic. You're attacking the widow of someone who was a very influential person in conservative circles. and you're doing it for months after his death, and you're doing it at a very high level with editing and multiple episodes and that kind of stuff, and making money off of it. People like myself and other YouTubers, we cover different topics, current events, trendy things that are happening. And it just so happens that the Charlie Kirk assassination was part of those things. This is not like a nefarious thing necessarily, but when you're at a higher level like that, you know, hitting the #1 podcast, you're going to make a lot of money off of it. If you put all of that into context of her not being involved, then this is a horrible, horrible thing. Now, in the context that there might be allegations she was involved, or at least played a small part in it, then this might expose things that are making people panic like crazy. And you're going to see on X that people are freaking out. It would be hilarious if she's just trolling these people and she comes out with some series talking about her pageant days and how great she was at pageantry or something, but I doubt that's going to happen. I doubt it's going to happen. So let's jump into some of the other stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but people like Tim Pool and Dan Bongino, I don't have anything against them. I don't really watch them that often. And I didn't even know that Dan Bongino was a podcaster before the FBI. So everything I'm seeing is new to me. I have no reference from before, but he is saying things like she's demonic. And that also is the same as the things we're seeing on X. It's definitely a coordinated attack. And I don't know who's funding it. I can make some guesses. But this is not the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last time. This is what happens anytime someone is either over the target or pissing off the wrong people. And I think we're going to find out what's going to happen in the long term. But for right now, she's getting attacked from every angle. The first I'd heard of it was Matt Wallace. He came out and he said, straight up, full disclosure, I was offered money today to say bad things about Candace Owens, and I turned it down. This post has 1.8 million views. And we have one here from Noxie Love. She's showing the content that went out. And when this happens, people are very fast at picking up on this. And with AI, you can throw this together in a few minutes. So the way they're doing these campaigns is not effective anymore because people know what they're doing. But she says, how convenient the memo went out to smear Candace. Let's read the memo. Subject, urgent. Shut down Candace's latest smears. Action needed tonight. All right. This is a very, very do it right now. Like you're commanded to do this type of feel. This isn't journalism, it's pure evil, demonic slander against a widow still mourning, dragging Charlie's name and legacy through the mud for clicks and clout. We've seen her platform before, but this time it's personal, it's vicious, and it has to stop. Again, this is not the first time. Talking points. Use these verbatim or close variations. Candace Owens is evil, pure evil. This is demonic, straight up satanic level attack on a widow and her kids. Candace is a demon obsessed with destroying Charlie's family. How can any real Christian stay silent while she attacks Erica Kirk like this? She's not asking questions. She's conducting a witch hunt. So based on those, clearly the talking points is she's evil and demonic. They're saying that anyone who doesn't agree with them isn't Christian or not a real Christian, right? So they're trying to use religion against people. And then saying she's not asking questions, she's conducting a witch hunt. Time will tell. You know, that's one of those things where we don't know until the things fully come out. Action items. Do this now before it trends further. Quote or reply to her posting, right? So this is this X post. Share and quote Graham Allen's strong stand. He's leading the charge. So it looks like Graham Allen is the front runner of this. Post your own version if you have reach. Tag big accounts. So it looks like some of these people may not have large audiences, right? So they're just kind of using like a blunt force attack from all different types of people and all different types of accounts, and flood the replies under any Candace defending or neutral posts with the demonic framing, make it impossible to ignore. This coordinated push worked against her before. It can bury this trailer before episode 1 even drops. Don't let the discernment crowd spin this as brave truth-telling. So as you can see, this is a very well coordinated, maybe very well funded defamation campaign against Candace, calling her demonic and calling her evil, and saying that she's conducting a witch hunt and she has nothing to stand on. And it's really interesting that they also want to go into the replies in the comments and flood that with the same messaging. I wonder if they're using bots and stuff. Like, you know, I don't have any proof, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's bots involved in this somehow, because obviously there's a lot of money behind all this. This is a typical social engineering attack. They're trying to sway the way people think and what people want to see and what they believe and what they don't believe based on what they see the most. So if they flood everything saying that she's evil and demonic, then they hope that that will overrule or block out people's desire to, first of all, watch the trailer, and especially to watch the episode series. And this is not the first time this has happened. As you can tell by the messaging, they said that this worked last time. And it's not only to Candace, and it's not only on the right or the left. This has happened to many different people. This happened before the internet was even big. They would do this kind of stuff in newspapers, right? So this is a tale as old as time. And as you would expect, this is trending. Owens launched a trailer Tuesday for Bride of Charlie, promising to uncover suspicious details about Erica Kirk, and there's more details about that. But you have people like Milo saying, did you take money to call Candace Owens a demon on X? We want to hear from you. And then he basically says, fess up now or I'll name you later this week, because he got his hands on the list. And of course, we saw that Matt Wallace said that he was offered money and he turned it down. Then you have Jake Shields saying, I'm convinced Candace is genuinely an actual satanic demon from the pits of hell. Whether you are a Candace fan or not, this is pure evil, more evil than satanic demon in hell. Sorry, Candace, but I couldn't turn down $20,000 for a tweet. And then he goes down here and he shows these other people. I don't know all these accounts, but they're all saying similar things. I'm convinced Candace Owens is a demon. Candace Owens is pure evil. She's a demon straight from the bowels of hell. Candace is a demon. Candace Owens is a demon from the pit of hell. Now, this is the messaging that came out in that memo or that email or whatever that contact was to all these people, saying they wanted to be on the same page and paint her as demonic and evil. So they did it. But this has happened before, like I said, and this is just the way things work. You know, you're in the public face, you have the #1 podcast. Like I was saying before, if Erica is not involved in this, this probably is the most evil thing you could do to her, right? If she is involved, then this is investigation. So time will tell. But as you can see, it's a very well coordinated attack against Candace Owens, and it has happened and will happen to others as well. We have this one from Max Twain leak. Rumors are swirling that Megyn Kelly helped Candace Owens produce her Erica Kirk series. Kelly is said to have screened an early cut of the series and offered legal advice to Owens' production team to help limit their liability to a defamation suit. More to come. And her response to that, Megyn Kelly says, "Are you a lunatic? Rumors are swirling that you are. Also a filthy liar, that one is actually confirmed." Morgan Ariel says, for those of you who don't know how the political influencer world works, influencers work with various companies that pay them to make posts. If you saw dozens of posts calling Candace Owens a demon today and thought to yourself, that doesn't look organic, that's because it isn't. And again, we have those various people and we have the messaging that came out. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments on this. Should stuff like this be allowed? Should this be banned by social media? For example, on X, if something like this comes out and there's an obvious paid campaign that goes out against people like Candace Owens or anyone else, it could be against me or any other influencer. You don't even have to be a creator. You could literally just be someone who's posting your opinion on X. And they come out with this kind of stuff where they're saying, you know, you're this and you're that, and it's coordinated against dozens of accounts, maybe hundreds of accounts. Should that be allowed? They don't allow hate speech. They don't allow, typical racism, sexism, and that kind of stuff. They don't allow certain terminology. They don't allow certain graphic content. Should they allow smear campaigns like this? To me, this would be considered harassment or bullying, right? So I ask you, platforms, should behavior like this be allowed? Should there be able to be coordinated smear campaigns against people, especially paid? Wouldn't you say that falls under bullying and harassment? You don't allow that from anyone else.
Candace Owens has announced a new documentary series called, The Bride of Charlie Kirk or something. The internet's blowing up. Clearly, they're not happy with Candace Owens. Obviously, I have had my disagreements, as it were. But what I would just say outright, first and foremost, is, look, people have been complaining for some time, and I've explained this quite a bit, that views are down, and in an off-cycle political year, it's very difficult to make money and maintain large viewership for your channels, especially when you're going into December, when you've got November and December with Thanksgiving and Christmas. Views drop. Now, ad rates typically go up, but we're experiencing this mass wave of AI-generated content, which results in distribution of viewership.
I just want to say here that what he's saying, while true, has nothing to do with Candace, I don't think. I think that what she's doing is irregardless of money. And I say that just because she already has money, and so does her husband.
And ad rates going down for everybody. And that's why I think Candace Owens is doing this. Obviously, that was an AI gag video mocking Candace Owens having this meeting with Erica Kirk. And then, she did walk back a bit of her earlier stance. But then, of course, she's doubling down. And the reason is actually quite simple. Many people pointed out that following this, not only was there a large backlash from her audience that just wants to believe that Erica Kirk is some kind of demon from or that Israel is doing something crazy. There are people that have formed, I would say, content that has formed around this idea.
And then, of course, we have Dan Bongino. He's back on the scene, and he's just letting people have it all around, everybody, right? And, of course, Candace is going to be an easy target. I don't know which side he's on or who he's with or any of that kind of stuff, but it seems like he's definitely part of this smear campaign that's very coordinated.
She didn't choose this. Imagine sitting there in your house and you find out from Twitter or, I don't know, a text or a phone call or that your husband was just shot in the neck for the entire world to see on social media at a public event. I can't imagine that. I know you can't either. Then you got to go through this. Then you got a bunch of absolute lunatics sending her emails. You did it. Comments, tweets. Fuck you. You go fuck yourself. You demonic scum.
Well, there you have it. Go F yourself, you demonic. And clearly this was targeted towards everyone who's talking about Erica Kirk or TPUSA. But Candace Owens is an easy scapegoat because she's the #1 podcast and because she's very open about it. Many say she also led the charge initially to get people thinking this way and moving that direction. But I think there's been a lot of other people who have dug deep into this that have found things that are questionable, right? So I'm not saying that Erica Kirk is guilty, but I'm saying there's a lot of things that are very strange in her past and current behaviors and other things going around with TPUSA that should be looked at. So a paid campaign to smear someone on a social media platform should not be allowed. And I'm going to call out X and other platforms. If you're giving all these people a bunch of crap about graphic content and saying certain things, harassment, bullying, and stuff like that, then how does this not fall into that category? How is this not harassment and bullying when you're paying content creators who could have a very large influence to say and do certain things and smear and defame someone like Candace Owens? Because if you allow this to happen to her, it could happen to anyone, and it probably does happen to other people. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is this insane? Is this valid? Should they be allowed to smear people on social media with paid campaigns? Is Candace Owens' series on Erica Kirk validated somehow based on things that people have found and some of the accusations and questions that are out there? As always, like, subscribe, and share this around. And this is now my full-time gig. So if you want to keep supporting the channel, there are links down in the description to donate, purchase merchandise, and I also have some affiliate links. And of course, I'll see you in the next one.